All right, stuff.
Yes, so as we discussed, entering with the 9 or a little bit more here, 9.2, 9.3 knots. The wind was gusting up to 35 sometime. I should wait a little bit with the turn here in this weather conditions, but then I corrected and I minimized the turn in order to have a good distance on the stern. But it was 50 meters, I think, on the stern reported. Probably that's the only thing that I will do differently. Wait a little bit with the turn and then start initiating the turn to the port side. No more than 5 knots with breaking down, as we know that it takes some time and there is not much distance to break down. Between 4 and 5 knots entering a turning circle. Continue a little bit ahead and start initiating the turn to the ports. 2.9. The wind is down to 15, 17 knots at the moment. I think initiating this turn a little bit early is a little bit even more comfortable. We have a very good distances. And at the same time with this wind condition, because you have more time to align her and find the balance, because before you start backing. So it was like 200 something meters on the stern, not less than 100 meters on the stern during the turn, and once we initiate and finish with the turn, we had 270 meters on the stern, keeping the headway, having the pivot point on the bow. That's what we discussed. Stern is swinging nice with 2.3 knots. My idea is it was to bring a little bit more about to north, because as you can see even now, holding the bow is falling down with 1.8 knots. Prediction looking good, and good references the breakwater here. So start increasing a little bit more the thrusters, as you can see the prediction is slowing down now, so the bow is going to end up exactly on the track as we want. 60 RPMs, I think that is a good power and RPMs on the posts, lifting the stern up and at the same time holding the bow. Wind was gusting up to 25 knots and down again to 15, 17, 18. Slowing down the bow here, 0.8, 0.7, and continue the stern. I think I had 0.3, 0.4 headway at that time. Start turning the pots now. In the water, bow is almost stopped. As I mentioned, this is the very good reference here, the breakwater. You can see the center line is exactly there, 0.5 for stern. I want to bring a little bit more the stern up. We have this 7 meters at the moment. Is clear also. Just try to find the balance. We passed 2.5 the first off, and that's what we actually discussed during the briefing. 2.5 knots, but because we know that we still have a long distance to go, 460 meters.
Okay, I think the rest is just fine tuning. So if we can stop it here, and let's. Well, first comment is of course excellent maneuver, very challenging. I think one thing that we should learn from this is we had a little over 25 knots, I think, passing here. I would say that that should be our limit with this wind direction. Knowing this, 30 knots of wind from that wind direction, I would abort. It would be possible, but it would be very, very risky to come in. As you saw, your stern was coming closer than was comfortable. If we come back until the ship is about here, more, yeah. And if you just go, let's put times 2 on this one. 9.2, 9.1 knots, that's what we discussed. And the crab angle, I can't see it really here. Well, now we have almost 0. Still hand steering. Predictor, I don't know what this could be, 35 meters, maybe 40. Here you took Asiman.
Start holding the stern.
I would have a little bit more ice in stomach. Make sure that she goes clear from this before we start braking. You pushed her with this pod, but doing 8 knots. Pivot point is here. You will end up. You also want the bow to keep up. That's my comment. I would have waited, keep the hand steering until Boston reports, and then immediately go 65 RPMs, braking the speed. Here, if you can stop it here. So we have wind 25 plus knots, ebb tide, that means we have current coming this way. I like everybody to maneuver the way they feel comfortable. That's the safest way. If I ask you to maneuver in a different way that you don't feel comfortable, that's not safe. That's my opinion. Myself, I would have done this maneuver that we did before. The reason for this is once you come up here, turn around, you are holding the bow with the thruster. So here you have current, you have wind, plus you have the momentum of the swing. So 3 forces pushing the bow this way. And the stern is only fighting the wind, because down here you don't have any ebb current. It's basically only up here. If you would have gone this way, you would have fight the wind and the current with the stern, but you have plenty of power on the stern. But here the momentum will help you, and the wind and the current will hold the stern, and here the wind will help you coming up and then back. It's just an option how to maneuver, but the way you did it was perfectly safe, and I felt comfortable all the time. You had full control of the ship. And again, there is a million ways to skin a cat, but very challenging. And I think our biggest lesson learned here is, let's say 25 knots, because if we say 30, it might be 28 and then gusting up to 35. So let's say 25 knots, that's the cutting point. We should not go in more than 25 knots here. Then we still have a little bit buffer if the wind starts.
I think also the speed, it's a criteria here, because the Carnival, it was slow, so actually we did it very well, because we slow much in advance. Actually we don't increase in order to have this 1 knot and she's speeding up very fast.
Yeah.
With less than 9 knots here entering, I think it's gonna be really, she's gonna be crabbing, and we're gonna reach the limit with the crab angle here.
Before you came up to 9 knots, I was looking, she had a crab angle of 15, 16 degrees. I don't remember now the briefing. What's the crab angle limit?
17.
17. So
yeah.
that is basically the limit, you know,
Yeah.
which means that she would come in like this, very close both on the bow and on the stern. So yeah, 9 knots plus, I would say.
Yeah.
When we had 14 knots, but at that time we had the wind straight on the stern. I think we came in with 10 knots or something.
10 knots, yeah.
And as you saw, she stopped. You know, she stopped. Especially if you're doing this turn, you have much longer distance to stop her. So I wouldn't be too worried about stopping her before we pass this one.
Yeah. And actually that was one of the reasons that I decided to turn to the port side, because we have more distance and we knew that we need to keep the speed.
Yeah.
For this maneuver with this wind condition. But yeah, as we said, I feel comfortable all the time, full control of the ship.
Yeah.
We saw that stern was falling down, so we can actually, with this approach, go hard to starboard side and leave the stern up, because the bow was already inside, lots of distance on the starboard side. So
Yeah.
I think it was good.
Yeah, very good maneuver. This maneuver, just for everybody know, is way more challenging when we had 45 knots coming from this side. Because now we had everything pushing on the broadside. Cool.